is the time, it's the place, it's the motion. Greece is the way we are feeling. Hey, 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 hey. How's it going? Guess I'm not going to be able to do this whole thing in the dark. Let me go turn on the light. I wanted to do this whole fucking thing in the dark, but I can't see shit. I can't see shit. No, I can't see shit. What the fuck am I supposed to do if I can't see shit? Thanks, Cloud Massacre, for 99 cents. Start things off tonight. What a nice gesture for you to do. Can't see shit. Flash Fried was really funny today. I'm glad you liked it. We had fun with it. Greece is the way we are feeling. Spank your grinder sometimes, you know that, right? This is the proper maneuver right here. Hello, me, it's me again. Got to spank your grinder. Yeah, buddy. Yeah, you gotta give them love taps out. Gotta give your grinder them love taps. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Do, 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 do. Railing lines off camera. I'm done. I'm done with you, Jaws. This right here is an 18 plus chat, bro. And if you're gonna act like a little kid, you might as well go fucking tell Tyler one he's doing rails off camera, okay? I'm sure he's Twitch streaming right now, playing some League of Legends. That's your last warning, bud. You better age up about 10 years or get the fuck out. Oh, Mr. Naughty Priest, thank you very much. Got in trouble for rushing my grant paper. Just wish I didn't have to foot the bill for my own degree. You know, professors were mad, but I'm only one dude. What are you gonna do, buddy? You may be only one dude, But if it is your intention to climb the corporate ladder, you better be two dudes. You better figure out a way to be two dudes quick. Corporations got no use for one dude. One dude that's willing to do the work of two dudes, though, now that's a commodity. Never heard of that painter, no. I'm not going to butcher his name either. But maybe I shall check out some of his works. It's a very chill night tonight. Like, chill vibe-wise, not necessarily chilly, just chill, you know? I've got this kind of like overall mellow feeling. It feels kind of good because I think it's like because I know I've got some time ahead of me to where like I can take a little bit of time and not have to worry about work. Or at least not to the extent that I usually do. And to get some stuff started on some of the side shit that we're doing. And to keep working on this Marshall track. I've got one that's fucking stymieing me because in my head it sounds so fucking good, but when I try and record it, it sounds like dog duty. And I just can't get it right. But maybe I just need to trust the producer. Send that shit off to fucking Marshall and let him work his magic on it. I've done that before. There have been times where I've been like, man, this take... whatever, I've tried this 10 times. I'm just gonna send Marshall all these takes, and he makes it sound wonderful, so. The magic of the producer. I got a kick this morning before the stream, like before the flash fried, to try and nail down one of these songs that I've been fucking kicking around. I got it lyriced out. We've seen all the people upset that Biden won't allow a COVID vaccine patents. People are literally sucking up to companies that want to charge for the vaccine. Well, of course they do. The days of like science serving the greater fucking community of mankind is over, bro. Science is owned by corporations now, by and large. And if they're not, they're subsidized by governments that are owned by corporations. It's where there's no humanity in the sciences anymore. It's all just dollars and cents and numbers. I mean, fucking Biden could have knocked this patent shit off months ago and saved about fucking 500,000 people in India, but he decided not to. Did Biden actually do something good? I mean, he did something a little late. He did something he could have done like fucking months ago once again and stopped the outbreaks in several fucking countries and shit, or at least halted them, or gotten them a good head start on their vaccination process. But yeah, he's recently pushed for the fucking patent, like denying the patents of these companies so that these fucking vaccines can be shipped all over the goddamn world. Better late than never, I suppose. Yeah. A lot of caring scientists are starved out because the research that they want to do, as important as it is, nobody wants to subsidize it because nobody wants the answer. You reckon most other presidents would have done the same, though? Probably, yeah. Probably. Like, I can't say with any certainty what any other person would have done, but if you want my take on it, yeah, I'm pretty sure that any president would have made the same maneuver. It's a great game called Presentable Liberty about a world government charging out the ass for a life-saving vaccine. It's only about an hour long. Might want to check it out if you want to burn an hour. Yeah. Watched The Power of Nightmares last night. Cool. I love putting people on to Adam Curtis documentaries. They were like a slap in the face to me. I was like, whoa. Never quite seen before Adam Curtis such a deep dive into the sociological and psychological history of the United States. Very interesting stuff. Kind of adds a little context to the current political environment too, doesn't it? Oh, you don't put that genie back in the bottle, Lorenzo. Like a lot of companies are learning that the fucking work from home model is actually better for their companies. See, this is something that people have been saying for a long fucking time. This old like idea, like, you know, you get up in the morning, you pack your briefcase, you put an apple and a slice of cheese in it, you go off to work to the office all day, and you sit in a cubicle and work at your computer, and then you come home. Like, that doesn't make any sense anymore. It makes no sense for companies to maintain these gigantic fucking buildings, all the liability that comes with maintaining a fucking working business like that, all the amenities and upkeep and fucking, like, you just transfer that right back to the people that are working for you. It's like your office is your fucking house. Like, you know what I mean? I mean, I think a lot of industries will probably have people moving back into buildings and stuff. I'm not saying that the whole idea of going to work is over. But for a lot of these industries, like the customer service industry, like the phone-based customer service industry, insurance agents, realty agents, fucking people that work for these fucking phone banks that answer calls for Comcast and all this other shit. Like, there's absolutely no reason to put these poor motherfuckers in a fucking call center anymore. Just sit them down at their fucking computer at home. Give them access to whatever fucking proprietary software they need on their home computer. Take calls. Do the job. So, yeah, you don't put that genie back in the bottle. Paul, I'm seeing the contrary. Boomer CEOs and high hierarchy types don't want to do the work from home model. They want to go back to offices. They're dragging our feet in the mud. Well, I mean, the numbers don't lie, dude. The amount of people that, you know, before April 2020 were working from home versus the amount of people that are working from home now, I don't know exactly what those numbers are, but I know that the chart is going... So, like, there's no, I mean, there might be some industries that are dragging feet on it and shit, and I don't doubt that there'll be some industries that'll drag feet forever on it. I'm not saying, like, the old idea of going to the office for the day is going away. I'm just saying a lot of these companies are realizing that, like, what the fuck? Like, why have this overhead? We've got this outsourceable fucking work. Let's just let people stay at home and do it from home. Answer phones from home, you know, fucking... check on accounts from home. And it almost makes no sense anymore after the pandemic to have people go sit in big call centers and shit. Like, what's the point? I worked in a call center for, you know, a couple of months before MCI WorldCom went belly up, and let me tell you, it was not helpful to be surrounded by tons of other people. They weren't looking to help you. They didn't have the fucking time to help you. They were helping themselves, you know what I mean? I may as well have been at home.
And you get that cross chatter thing if you're two packed together. Like, especially like if you get like a customer service call like India or something, you can totally hear everyone around them.
At a cubicle. Yeah. It was the most dystopian place. It was this big giant warehouse. and it was a maze of cubicles. And they were all lettered like parking places. So there was cubicle bank A, B, C, D, E, F.
You
All
had like A12 or something.
right, and I can't remember. I was in bank C, I think. I was like C14, C15, something like that. And that was your home. And if you stood up in that place, I learned about this many years later when I was talking to somebody who knew about corporate architecture. I was having I can't remember where it was, one of my fucking Stickam chats or whatever that I had with people. I was talking about how weird it was working at this place because they would encourage you to stand up, or, get off your chair and move around a little bit while you were taking calls. And when you did, not a single wall in this place was the same color. The wall ahead of me was like blue. The wall down at the end was yellow. The wall behind was like a pleasant, like orange. Like they were all very cool colors, but not one of them was different. Like not one of them was the same. There was no like uniformity to the color scheme. And that was to make it feel like it was like to trick the human mind into thinking it's outside. Because you see a diversity of color when you look around. It's not reminiscent of some clinical environment. There were glass windows separating different parts of the offices to give the appearance that there were windows to the outside, but there really weren't. There were no windows to the outside in the building. There were windows inside the building that led to another part of the offices, and then you had to walk around and go out. But they literally hid the sunlight from that place. They didn't want people to actually see the sun. They wanted you to... It's fucked. I tell you, man, one of the biggest luck outs that I had was MCI WorldCom going belly up like a dead fish. I'll tell you what, man, I don't know what would have happened to me if I'd have stayed on that grind for 2 or 3 fucking years, much less 8, like I stayed with Starbucks. Yeah, you're like a caged animal in those fucking places, dude. Like you really are. They make no sense. They're functional, but they make no sense from a human perspective. They literally have there's nothing human about them. They're very much like zoos for you. You could tell it's a place that's been designed to make you okay with banality. Like, okay, yeah, I come to this place, but at least when I look at that wall, it's yellow. Like your brain is tricked on some level to go like, oh yeah, well, this is okay because that wall's yellow and that one's blue. That one over there is kind of like light pink or whatever. So some diversity around at least for my human brain to chew on while I'm sitting here all day going, boom. Thank you for calling MCI WorldCom. This is Paul with HP Pavilion Support. How can I help you? Drive you nuts, bro. Drive you right out of your fucking mind. No joke. The people that fucking worked there were insane. Like, not in a bad way. They weren't mean to me. But have you ever seen... If you've never seen the movie Wall Street, you don't understand the energy I'm talking about. They had this energy about them, like... You could tell that the people that have been there for a long time had to turn it into a game. Because that's the only way that their fucking brains could handle having to do it every day. And so they were all fucking boom, 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 boom. High energy. What's up, buddy? Boom. Hey, how you doing? How many calls you done? 50, 50. You know, like shouting. I'm like, who are these people? Where do they find these people? I just stayed in my cubicle.
At least you weren't in sales. Like, one thing my mom was in sales for, you had to do like 200 cold calls a day minimum.
Yeah. I can't remember what our quotas were, but they were insane. Like unmeetable, basically. If you actually did your job. So they didn't really want you to do your job. They wanted you to push calls. But if you push too many calls, you get complaints, then you're in trouble. It's just a fucked up job. Was it on commission? No. I was an employee of MCI. Well, yeah, I mean, technically part of my paycheck was commission pay. I got a flat hourly rate that was pretty good. And then any services that I sold, which was hardly any because nobody wants to pay fucking 25, 30 bucks or whatever the fuck to get tech support for something they thought was going to be free. But anything that I sold, I got a percentage of. I can't remember what my commission was. Nobody fucking made tons on commission in that fucking place. And if they did, they had some skill I didn't have. Yeah, no, dude, the people that worked there were fucking crazy. They were either like real reclusive like me and didn't even want to look at other people, or they were really overly friendly and trying to hype everybody up. Like jockeying for like a floor supervisor position or something because they know that they're being watched all the time by the people in the fucking glass rooms across the way. Oh, gives me flashbacks, bro. I can't deal with that type of shit. There was like zero humanity in that building. And then I know it doesn't sound like that big of a step up, but I'm telling you, dude, in comparison, getting that job at Starbucks, which is the place that I fucking got hired at right after I got laid off from MCI, it was like being reintroduced back into the fucking human race. Like, say what you want about it. It was a fast food job. It had its ups and downs. It was shitty. The pay wasn't great. Sometimes the people I worked with sucked. Sometimes the customers sucked. But you know what? There was a human element to it. Like, there was food. There was songs playing. There was, like, laughter every once in a while. You know what I mean? Genuine laughter. So, yeah, you can't... There's none of that in a fucking call center. Call center is like a fucking tomb, dude. It's like the fucking terracotta army that they found in China. Like when the cameras go off, you know, and they all start chattering with one another. It's like a tomb. They all start answering phones when nobody's looking at them. Free coffee too, and yeah, quality coffee as well. I mean, you can't fucking shake a stick at that, especially as a dude that's hand to mouth, you know. I subsidized a lot of my food needs from taking home like mark out pastries and shit. Take home a scone to have in the morning for breakfast at a time when I knew I wouldn't have had a breakfast, you know what I mean? Take home a croissant and have it with some soup or something for dinner when I probably wouldn't have, I just would have had the can of soup, you know? So all those little perks or whatever played into that job being way cooler than this other job, even though it paid way less. Like, it was a pay cut for me going from MCI WorldCom to fucking Starbucks, but I was willing to take it because I don't know if there's any amount of money that was worth that fucking other job. I probably either I wouldn't have lasted there long, or I would have stayed there way too long and been a broken human being coming out the other end of it. Like, just completely broken. Mad respect to people who work in call centers, yo. See, if you're a social person like me, or at least a person that enjoys socializing with like-minded people, and you can make friends with most anybody as long as they're semi-reasonable, then Starbucks is a hell of a fucking great job. Like, it may not pay all that well, and there are definitely fucking better jobs you could get, but like, I don't know, man. Every store I worked at for that company had a cast of characters at it. You know what I mean? Save one. Save one, bro. One was dead as fuck, but I got my ass out of there. Dude, I think I kept my job at Starbucks for sheer audacity. When I got out of fucking Arizona, I didn't go about it the right way. Like, I left my manager holding the ball to call and do my transfer shit. And I knew that my manager was a fuck up. Like, not a bad guy, but a fuck up. And so I just kind of like was like, all right. He's like, oh yeah, I'll do this. I'll send it. I'll make the call, blah, blah, blah. I was like, all right, thank you. You know, before I left, moved back to Cali, got to Cali, and I started calling stores and shit, asking if anybody had heard, because like I had no fucking clue what I was supposed to do. Called my boss. He claimed he'd sent it, but he never sent shit. So finally, like I didn't realize at the time, but I just called the district manager, which was pretty audacious. You're not supposed to call the district manager even if you like work in the district unless something's on fire, you know what I mean? So like I called the district manager. I was like, hi, yeah, my name is Paul Parkey, and I'm trying to transfer your district from Chandler, Arizona. And he said, who are you? I was like, I'm a guy that's trying to transfer, man. I've been working for Starbucks for like 4 years, and I'd like to keep my job here in the Fresno area, and I'm trying to get the ball rolling. I don't think my boss is doing right by me. He says he sent you stuff, but you clearly haven't heard of me. And he got real quiet for a minute, and he was like, give me your number and let me call you back. I was like, all right. Gave him my number, and about 3-4 hours later, sure shit, he called me back. He's like, look, I found a spot for you. I don't know anything about you, and I wasn't able to reach your manager, so you're probably right about him. He doesn't seem like he's on the ball, so you're on probation. He's like, I don't know anything about you. I'm going to put you up at this store. It's a drive-through. I was like, all right. So this store was like, dude, the fucking manager of the store that he put me at was a nightmare. And it was just like, she sucked the life out of it. She was like one of those people that sucks the life out of a room. Just like, with the sourness, Like, you guys see me sour a lot, but when I would go to work, like, it had to be a real bad day for me to come in there all hangdog, I try to exude a little bit of that, like, like, hey, we're all into this together, kind of, yeah, Karen. Yeah, like a Karen, for sure. And, like, everybody in the store was like her as a result because, like, if you know anything about leadership and shit, a leader sets the tone and timbre for an entire crew of people that work together. So if a leader is a sour, lemon-sucking Karen, like, then even people that are normally not that are going to be that. You know what I mean? Because they have to be to please the fucking Karen. And so I was miserable. I was ready to quit fucking Starbucks. I worked there for like 2 months and heard through the grapevine that they were looking for, and this was a step down for me. I was working as a shift supervisor over there. And they were looking for a barista, like an experienced barista at one of these other stores. They just lost somebody. I put my fucking name in the hat. They were happy to get rid of me at that store because I was like a square peg in a round hole at that sour-ass fucking place. And luckily, I only had to be there like 2-3 months, and then I got put in a store that some normal people in it, People that smoked weed and, like, didn't take everything so serious. Like, my boss went from being like a lemon-sucking Karen to like a 300-pound butch lesbian who was in love with Morrissey. The music, not the man. So you can see that the cool factor went, you know what I mean? That's a good boss trade. I do that boss trade any day. Huge upgrade. She had her problems, trust me. Was that the store where you turned around the attitude of the old guy customer? Yep. That district manager probably stuck you there on purpose. He probably did. He probably knew that was the sour lemon store and nobody wanted to work there. Whatever. That district manager fucking liked me by the end. I think he had one of those, like, the balls on this kid moments when I fucking just called his personal number. I was like, hi, I'm from Arizona. I'm a nobody trying to transfer to your district and you've never heard from me before, and I'd like you to work this out, please. I think he was like, A ballsy little fuck. By the time by the time he left that position and we got another district manager, he and I were like that. He kept me from being fired so many times by that crazy butch lesbian chick. That's a whole other story, though. She loved me until she hated me. That's just the way it goes, I guess. But she tried to shit can my ass so many fucking times, and he was like, "No, you're not fired, Paul. He's been here a long fucking time. Customers love him. He's doing a good job. You're not fired, Paul." It's not just one story. It's a whole shit fuck ton of stories. All right. I'll tell you the story. This lady was very nice. Very nice. I want to say that right out front. It's not my intent to shit talk this lady. She was cool. But how do I put this? She was a bit emotional to be a boss. Like she carried, like it's okay to be an emotional person and be a boss, but you got to have that separation, right? I make a good boss because I'm able to go like, you know what I mean? I'm an emotional guy in my private life, but my business life, I'm a very business-like person. So they're dividing line, see? She wasn't capable of that. So she brought up a lot of emotion from home into work. And that caused a lot of discord at work because sometimes she would come in and she'd be in this fucking like amazing mood and everybody'd be happy to see her and it'd be like, the store would run good. And then some days she would come in and she'd just be in a fuck shit mood and she'd be like angsty and picking out every little fucking thing and not trying to help anybody. And she'd just sit in the back and brood all day, So she was very temperamental. But we all put up with her because she was pretty cool as a boss, pretty understanding as a boss, etc. So she had this on again, off again relationship with a chick that was always in there. I can't for the life of me remember her name. Nor would I say it if I could, I guess. I gotta remember I'm not telling these stories to like my cousins or whatever. It's like the internet. So anyway, she had an on again, off again, torrid love affair kind of relationship with this lady. And it got to the point where like this lady would show up and our manager would leave during a rush to go stand in the parking lot and fight with her. Like, not like, but like have a verbal altercation in the parking lot while we were slammed out the door and she was on schedule, meaning that she was supposed to be a body doing something in the store at that time, right? Like managers don't just work in the back all day. Managers work the bar, managers work the front counter, managers work the register, managers do shit in Starbucks, at least at that time. I don't know how they do it now. So it's like we're down a person and she's out there yelling at her girlfriend. And so anyway, this went on and it was causing a lot of discord in the store, especially amongst the openers, which I was one, right? Because we would set up for success the morning mid shift, which was the 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. people who were going to be there way longer than us, right? And then everything would go to shit because the boss would come in and we'd be down a person and everything would be filthy when we left and we'd all feel bad. So it was causing a lot of discord amongst the morning crew, of which I was kind of like the de facto head. I was the shift supervisor that opened 6 days a week. So if you were an opener, you worked with me. So I was the de facto head of that little department. And I let it go on because she's my boss. What am I going to say? You know what I mean? It's not my job to police her. But it started getting to the point where the lady wouldn't even come. She'd just go out there and she'd be on her cell phone. And you could tell she was arguing with that lady. And then she'd come in all sour and angry that nothing was done when nothing was done because we were short a person because she was out there. You get me? It was getting out of control. And so finally, I just told everybody, I said, look, I'm going to talk to her tomorrow. Wish me luck. She might fire me if she does. It's been nice working with you guys. But I'm just going to give it to her straight. Like, I'm not going to pull punches. I'm not going to be mean about it, but I'm just going to tell her, like, this turmoil you've got going on is fucking up the business, in no uncertain terms. And I did. I waited. She came in one morning. She was in a relatively good mood, which I thought was a good idea. I waited till a day when she was not like totally sour when she came in, and I said, hey, can we take our lunch together today or whatever? Oh yeah, yeah. So I sat down with her in the back at lunch, and I just told her, I was just straight out. I was like, look, lately I understand it's none of my fucking business, and I'm not asking to be involved in it. But lately, you've been real distracted. You've been having a lot of fights and a lot of arguments, spend a lot of time like off the floor at times when we need a body. And she goes, let me just stop you there. And I was like, oh, fuck, here we go. She goes, it is not your purview, blah, blah. She started giving me the boss dress down, right? It is not in your purview to tell me how to run this store. And it is not in your purview to tell me what I do with my time when I am on the clock. You are not my supervisor. You have never been my supervisor, and you never will be my supervisor. And I was like, all right. She goes, get back on the floor. So I was like, all right. From that day on, she hated my fucking guts and wanted me fired. She wanted me fired multiple fucking times for stupid shit. Like, just whack shit. You know what I mean? Not even shit that I fucked up. Shit that the fucking mid-shift would fuck up. She'd ask the mid-shift, and the mid-shift would go like, well, it was dirty after the morning shift. And it was dirty after the morning shift because her ass was fighting with her girlfriend out in the, you know what I mean? She wanted to, like, put it off on me. From that day forward, I was no longer a cool guy. So she ended up trying to get me fired so many fucking times that I finally just called the district manager because I know he was getting it all the time from her, trying to get rid of me. And I called the district manager again, and I was like, look, I don't know what to do here at this place. I'm thinking about quitting. And he goes, let me put you in this new store we're opening. So we're opening a drive-through in a month and a half. You hang in there till then. I'll put you in the new store. I'll slide you right in there. Get you some new blood and all that. I was like, all right. Hung in there, and I did that, and I opened this new drive-through store, and it was better over there. Another crazy fucking boss, and another crazy fucking story, so it wasn't all fucking a bed of roses over there either, but that's the way that I lost the favor of my lesbian boss. I guess that I wasn't going to lecture her. I worked for Starbucks for about 8 years, just shy of 8 years. The remaining month and a half, I was fine, and she actually like backed off because she knew I was transferring out. Obviously, he's not gonna like rip me out of there the day of. So he called her, told her I was transferring out. Once she heard I was transferring out, she just gave me the silent treatment for a month and a half, which was infinitely better than what I was getting. So it was like old times. I got to spend some time with my crew members who I liked all of them. They all liked me. How many different Starbucks did I work at? I started at the Starbucks on Dobson and Chandler Boulevard in Chandler, Arizona. I worked at one in Tempe for a while. I can't remember the address for that one. And then I transferred out to the one that I mentioned here in California. So that'd be 3. That was the first one, the Sour Lemon Karen store. Then I worked for about 2.5 years, I believe, exclusively at the one that I just mentioned. That would be the butch lesbian boss that liked me and then didn't store. And then I finished my tenure at the 5th store that I transferred to, which was the drive-through that I mentioned that I opened. So 5, give or take. Like I worked, like I was a guy that they would send to, I would like do openings at stores because I was really good at like getting underneath the legs of a store because I just been there for so long. So I was able to get like a young crew of new hires on board. So it wasn't like I was a manager, but they would put me in. So I would like go to a store for a couple of weeks to smooth the opening shift or whatever the fuck. So I worked a lot of Starbucks, but like actually my store's 5. I was a commodity because I was a really reliable opener. Like that was my niche. I did not want to be a manager. I was offered multiple times to step up to a management position. The closest I got was a temporary manager while they looked for an actual manager. And so they let me temporarily do the job of manager and stuff, but I told them in no uncertain terms I was not interested in stepping up to that position. It was not worth the money. Like, to be quite honest with you, and this is kind of fucking sad, because I'd been with the company for so long, and because the company has regular fucking pay increases, right? And because the company doesn't believe in reducing someone's pay when they transfer, I transferred from an area, Arizona, that had a higher minimum wage standard than the area I transferred to. So to tell you the truth, store managers towards the last 2-3 years that I was there were making about $3 or $4 an hour more than me, maybe. It's like, nah, no thanks. And I give up all my tenure and have to go salary. No, I'm too smart for that. Give me basically the same amount of pay for way less fucking work, please. Thank you. Way less responsibility, yes. But that's the upside of fucking being at a place for a long fucking time. Fucking Starbucks, bro. What is this question, Matt Blank? I can't make heads nor tails of that. You're asking what's tenure? What's the difference between tenure and salary? So tenure can either be something that's established contractually, or it can be something that's like acknowledged theoretically, right? So tenure it just basically means how much time have you been doing the job. That's your tenure. So if you have 8 years of tenure doing your job, then somebody that just started has 1 year of tenure. You have tenure over that person. And so I had tenure over pretty much everybody in the fucking business, because most people worked there for a year or two and then graduated college and went on, and I was still working there, you know. I never really did the coffee art shit. There was just not time. You guys may remember my ex, Ashley. She's into that. She works at Starbucks now down in Texas where she lives. And she's pretty good at that fucking latte art shit. Makes the little hearts and the little flowers and shit. I never really got good at that. Well, seniority and tenure are functionally the same concept. I mean, like I said, tenure can be contractual or tenure can be theoretical. So if you have contractual tenure, that's what you're talking about, like teachers, where you like have rights that come with tenure. Or if you're talking about theoretical tenure, it just means that you're looked up to and respected because you've been with the company a long time. So you get deference when it comes to your first choice of where you want to be, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Congrats to her on getting married. Yeah, and I'm not sure if she's married yet. I know she's engaged. One of my favorite Paul stories was the one you told about Lucas and the red-faced boy at Starbucks. Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, you meet strange folk. I used to work with a chick that was from New York, whose dad she was just unabashed about it. Was like a low level, like not super high up, but still made kind of mafia dude who was on house arrest and had to move to Arizona. She was cool. She was a very interesting chick. Lucas, who of course immigrated from the Balkans somewhere. Yeah, dude, I don't know what the fuck is going on with chat tonight. Chat is like, I guess they're just letting me ramble tonight. Cause yeah, dude, chat seems to be like fucking like everybody's in story listening mode. It's all good. Nice toots. Maybe chat racks a discipline. No, it's all good, man. I'm not meaning to call out the lurkers. Guys, go. That was not like I wasn't calling anybody. Please do what you gotta do. Sometimes chats are just slow. It's fine. Be really hard for me to hear your weird Starbucks story through this medium. You know what I mean? It's kind of a one-way medium when it comes to that long form stuff. That last store I worked at was a trip too. A bunch of memorable characters in that store, not to exclude the manager who I was friends with, sadly died the Jimi Hendrix death, basically. Fucking shocking shit, bro. The guy was 35 years old. I was about 28 when I worked for him. And he and I had a lot in common. He was a cool guy. And a lot like me now in my older years, I think. Like he was like not in a hello fellow kids kind of way, but he was a dude that he was an older guy, but that like was kind of effortless with the cool lingo shit. He knew music and he knew movies, and he was a very affable, kind of outgoing type of personality, a magnetic type of dude, yeah. And outside of those things, he and I just personally had a lot of things in common. I don't consider myself a lot of those things. He was a very shiny guy. And he started having these parties. And shit, immediately the red light goes off in my fucking head because my dad, you know, I was trained in business before I was even old enough to do it. So, you know what I mean? You start partying with your fucking underlings and shit, it's all topsy-turvy at that point, and nobody thinks you're their boss anymore. I'll never forget that shit. I can't even remember what it was over, but my dad dressed down a man in the office, kind of in front of me, not really in front of me, but he was a man that had come to our house before and chilled and hung out before my dad was the boss. And so I thought of him as like a good friend. And so I waved at him when he went into my dad's little inner office part. And then I heard them in there yelling, and I heard that dude storm out, slam the fucking door. And I was like, whoa. My dad could see on my face that I was like, he scooched the chair over close and he pulled me into his office, and he said, look, he said, you can either be someone's boss or you can be somebody's friend. He said, if the people that work for you think that you are their friend, they'll walk all over you and they won't do their jobs. And I took that shit to heart. Now, I wasn't an asshole to work for, but when it came to like fraternizing with people from my work, I just didn't do it outside of work all that often. I was not that kind of guy. I kept it because ultimately I was a soup, so I had a fucking, they were accountable to me. So I can't be fucking popping pills and smoking dope and fucking drinking with all my people that are accountable to me. You know what I mean? So anyway, he starts breaking this cardinal rule, and once again, I'm in a position where I'm like, I can't, what am I gonna fucking say? He's my boss, not the other way around. I've already made that fucking mistake once, going to a boss and being like, hey, dude, your fucking behaviors, that didn't work out the first time, so I'm not doing that. And then out of fucking blue one day, I got a call on my day off. So I'd been up, probably partying and shit. Got a call from the DM. This was a new DM. Oh, Mr. Parky, can you come in and open the store this morning? I said, yeah. I'll be there in 15 minutes. All right, thank you. Went into the store. Everybody's like, what the fuck? Where's so-and-so? The male manager, we'll say his name was Dave. It wasn't. Where's Dave? Where's Dave? Where's Dave? Where's Dave? I was like, I don't fucking know. I was like, I'm here for Dave, I guess, because he's supposed to be on the fucking schedule today. And then we found out midway through the post-morning rush that he was dead and how he had died. He had like literally partied that night before and fallen asleep on his back in his fucking bed. C'est la vie. Fucking crazy, man. That was the craziest funeral I ever went to in my life. It was nuts. It was like looking at myself there. I was like, whew. Well, that was the second craziest funeral I ever went to in my life, to be quite frank with you. The craziest funeral I've ever been to in my life, I doubt any of you have a story that comes anywhere fucking near it. I doubt any of you have a story that comes anywhere near the and dude, you gotta understand, this is not a cool story. It's a sad fucking story, ultimately. A girl I knew in high school had older brothers. And after high school, I moved away to Arizona, moved back, was there for a few years, moved back, like I told you guys, still working for Starbucks. Worked for Starbucks all that time. Then I got a job at the school district. That's why I left Starbucks. I got a job doing networking and technology support for the school district. So I started doing that job, and one day, all of a sudden, my phone blows up, and the caller ID, it's this name that I haven't even fucking heard from in 10 years. You know what I mean? Kind of an old flame from high school. I pick up the phone, and she is bawling. Bawling. I'm talking like, you guys know what I'm talking about. If you've ever heard like real genuine grief. And I was like, oh my fucking God, are you okay? What's wrong? Do I need to call the cops? And she just kept saying, they're dead, they're dead. And I said, slow down, hold the fucking phone, breathe for a minute, tell me what's fucking going on here. Because I haven't heard from you in 10 years and I'm scared shitless here. Do you need help? You need me to come get you somewhere? She said, no. My brothers are dead. And I was like, oh, fuck. I said, how? And she told me the most fucking insane story. Around the area that I live in California, there are a lot of old mine shafts from the frontier days and from earlier parts in California's history in areas that are now national preserves. One of those areas is called Coarse Gold, and it's a place where a lot of frontier people dropped mine shafts, exploratory mine shafts, both horizontal and vertical, to assay whether or not there was gold and to mine any other precious metals that they might find, right? So you've got all these old mines up there, and there are people spelunk down into them. And so her brothers were those. They like to go up into the foothills, find these old mine shafts, set themselves up. And that's what they did one day. They spelunked down the bottom of a mine shaft. They had a little, they got to the bottom of it and found that it actually had a horizontal shaft at the bottom of it. And so they decided that they were going to explore the horizontal shaft, but they were going to bring their little gas powered generator down to power the lights so that they could see down the shaft. This was a horrifying mistake. They went down the vertical shaft, explored for a while, and by the time they started heading back, the entire place was filled with carbon monoxide. And they immediately started to suffocate. They got back to their climbing rope together, managed to hook themselves up to it, and managed to get about halfway up the shaft before they both succumbed to carbon monoxide poisoning and died. Because they were young men and hadn't told anybody that day where they were going, they weren't found for a week. And they were found hanging there together. Both young men in their 20s. Right? This was a tragedy. This was a newspaper making tragedy in my area. I went to this funeral out of respect to the family, and out of respect to the sister who had lost both of her siblings, who I'd known and been friends with. And it was filled with people, news media all outside of it. You had to have like a family pass to actually sit in. There was a vigil outside. I got a family pass from I have friends and family, whatever. It's like a ticketed event. You had to be somebody that knew them to actually get in. Everybody else had a vigil outside. So I got in. And the fucking caskets were open. Huge fucking mega church filled with people. And they were like black with corruption. Dressed in tuxedos with their hands folded. You fucking got me, bro. You got me. I was fucking like, I couldn't even believe it. Like that, plus all just the horror of it and the grief of it, I was done. I left that place. I gave the lady that I knew that had lost her brothers a hug and her family a hug and told them how very sorry I was. And I went home and I just fucking bawled my eyes out. Didn't want to talk to people for like 2 fucking days. It was nuts. I got in line because everybody was getting in line and it was a huge mega church and I was seated all the way up to the back and I really honestly couldn't see what was going on. And these were people that I'd known. Yeah, these are both like I wasn't their best friend or anything, but I knew these guys. I'd had conversations with these dudes, shaking their hands. Money was not an object, let's put it this way. Money was not a concern here. This funeral was opulent, and the family is well-moneyed, or was well-moneyed at the time. I'll never forget that shit. I could see them from about halfway down the line, and I couldn't believe what I was doing, but I didn't feel right getting out of the line. And so I walked and I looked. And I did what everybody else did, and I paused and I looked at each one of them, and I will never fucking in my entire life forget it. And I hope I never face death like that ever again. I'm not cut out for it. I'm not made of the stern stuff that it requires to stare something like that in the fucking face for real. I could watch movies about it all day long. You put that in my face again, I'll buckle. I just couldn't do it. I can't even imagine what it must have been like for the fucking family. To this day, I can't imagine what it's like for her to have lost both of her brothers to that, to that mom and dad. Ripped that whole family. It's ripped two people right out of it. And all that's left of them is sitting up there. And everybody that knew him is around to come and pay their final respects and take one last look at him before they get put in the fucking ground. What a world. Beyond humbling. These dudes were my age, you know, like within 4 or 5 years of me. These were not old men. These like young dudes, prime of their life, all that shit. Why you guys make me tell these horrible stories? I'm kidding. I shared that story of my own volition, didn't I? Yep, do not use an internal combustion engine in an enclosed area. Shit ain't no joke. From what I understand, they had a piping system, like it had an exhaust pipe. It was made for spelunking, so they weren't complete like, dun, dun, dun. They'd done it before, right? So they had a specially made powered engine that had an exhaust fucking thing that they set up to the top that was supposed to vent the fumes up and out of the fucking cave. And it had ripped or leaked or came undone from the fucking contraption in such a way that the monoxide was leaking into the cave and they didn't know it. That was the particulars that, as I understand them, although I don't claim to know a fucking thing about spelunking, so that could all be bullshit. I mean, it sounds like a dangerous fucking contraption to begin with, but... According to Google Foo, 3 men actually died. Interesting. Yeah, I didn't know. There might have been a third, like, friend with them. 2 of them should have the same last name, and I'll thank you for not putting it in the chat. I'd really rather not the family have any fucking bullshit. from it. But yeah, I mean, this is definitely something that was probably covered at least at the state level in the news. So no, it's fine. I understand people are curious. You can look I mean, somebody tells a story like this, you know, if it happened in modern times, it's going to be covered somewhere, right? So it's natural to want to vet it or whatever. I'm fine that you did, but yeah, don't fuck with the family, please, 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 please. They have nothing to do with me. I don't know them anymore. They haven't talked to me in fucking like 20 years, please. I'm telling you guys the story, but like, you understand, like, this is just a, there are real people attached. Yeah. Just a complete fucking senseless fucking thing. Pretty crazy. So no minor 49er jokes. Come on, buddy. Come on, buddy. Too soon. You know what really fucking is something to think about? Those apparently 3 young men who died that day in that very tragic accident are no different from thousands and thousands and thousands of people that have died in the history of the human race and misadventures and misfortunes. It just happens all the fucking time. Just kind of underscores the senselessness of it all. Yeah. So many people just disappear without a trace. You know how many fucking like active missing persons and non-active fucking cold missing persons cases there are? Like, people just vanish. Like, what is that? Especially in this day and age, how do you just vanish? I mean, it's like vanish into the woods, though. What does that mean? They just walk off into the woods and something gets them, or they get lost? Like, I gotta tell you, dude, if I walked off in the woods and got lost somewhere, I'd set that motherfucker on fire. If I went camping and had flint and tinder and fucking fuel and shit, I'd light a big fucking forest fire and shit. They'd find me. How does somebody walk into the woods and just get lost? Just vanish. No, I'm dead ass serious. They want to charge me with a fucking crime or whatever, I'll go to jail. I ain't dying like out in the fucking woods. I'm gonna get myself rescued. You better believe it. How many people you think are like just floating at the bottom of the ocean? That's got to be the greatest body disposal fucking thing ever, right? Think about that shit. How many of these fucking missing persons cases are just down at the bottom of the ocean? Nothing left of them because all the little sea creatures have just eaten all the bones and the marrow and just, you know what I mean? How many people are just like driven offshore a little ways, weighted down, and just plumped into a body of water? Just think of the things we do and how quick and sudden it can go. I was watching some compilations of World War I films, and I think it's about, I think about them gone, strangers to time, walked those woods to never return. Yeah. And like here we are, in like having this collective dream that we're somehow different from them. Having this collective dream that even though we recognize our mortality, that it's not going to end up like they did. It can't, right? Fuck. Where do they go? Are all of these people just lost to the ravages of other people? Are they taken by serial killers or one-off thrill kill type of people? Convenience rape dumps? Like, what is this? What's happening? Where are these people going? 1, 2, 3 people vanish, sure. Thousands of people without a trace? Who's vanishing? Go look at the fucking National Missing Persons Registry. Those people are vanishing. I'm loving this convo. Cool. Yeah. I love that line in American Psycho where, you know, the detective is interviewing Patrick Bateman about the disappearance of Paul Allen. And he talks about how weird it is that some people just vanish. And Patrick Bateman says, yeah, it's like the earth just opens, swallows them. Eerie. Real eerie. Human trafficking, yeah. How many of these missing people just got shipped overseas on a fucking cargo container? Think about that shit. You think it doesn't happen? Or vice versa? People that are just never seen again are brought other places, trafficked for sex, for labor, whatever. Fuck. That's fucking terrifying. This is now a doomer stream. Dun, dun, dun. When was it not? No, that is really terrifying. to think about. Especially when you live out in the middle of nowhere, because you got to understand that, like, if there's a bunch of bodies at the bottom of the ocean, there's a bunch of bodies buried out in places just like this. Maybe 100 years ago, some fucking cowboy out here in what was then the fucking Mexican territory of California killed a couple of fucking hombres and buried them right here. Think about it. I'm not saying it's fucking like guaranteed, but dude, it was wholesale slaughter out here. Yep. Or maybe they got bushwhacked and scalped by natives, yeah. Stuck head first in the ground like they used to do. Think about that shit. Humans are terrifying animals. So are chimps, honestly. Like the amounts of violence, see, look, okay, let's talk about this for a second. You look at a grizzly bear, terrifying animal, right? But you know that animal is not driven by deep-seated machinations, right? You know that its violence and terror comes from instinct. It comes from instinct, right? It's an animal capable of profound destruction, profound violence. But that violence is not driven by some deep-seated desire to murder somebody, or driven by some fucking dark desire to rape and kill women, or driven by some dark desire to take children and kill them. You know what I mean? That's humans. That's chimps. That's primates that do that type of shit. Right? So there's a different kind of terror involved there. Sharks, another great example. They're terrifying animals, especially the big ones, like the gray whites and shit. Terrifying animals. But there's a natural logic to their terror. A shark is not swimming through the water planning to fucking kill a family of 4. A bear's not wandering around the woods scratching its ass on its favorite tree planning the next fucking, child he's going to abduct and do horrible things to and kill. They don't have that level of complexity. We do. The primate has that. We're the most terrifying fucking creature on this planet. That's why I think it's funny. And look, dude, I'm not trying to diss these movies like Jaws and shit. These movies that try and portray like some natural beast element that is somehow more terrifying and vicious than we are, just what? Yeah, I do believe Jensen has talked about this. I don't remember the context. Just profound darkness in our species. Our intellect has turned so dark against one another. And look at how it extrapolates out person to person with these disappearances that we're talking about, right? You think that has no connection to the greater body? Of course it does. In a civilization where you can disappear and almost no one cares, there has to be exploitation all the way to the top and all the way outside to feed it. Think about what this place we live in does to people's homes, villages, small cities, rivers, lakes, bodies of water, groundwater, all over this fucking planet. The horror that we export. Unfathomable. In service of ourselves. So society as a whole is no different than the serial killer that preys on a child. No different, functionally. Different motives, same ends. Well, I lied. They are functionally different in one very specific way than people that prey on children. They're far more numerous and they kill far more children than individuals as a collective do. I want you guys to know that it's my stance that it's this that killed us. What we're talking about right now. This is the root. This is what humanity was not able to shed despite its civilization, despite its eschewing of the old way and the acceptance of a new rule-based way. Humanity was never able to shake off this darkness. And it has consumed every fucking inch of this planet. Every aspect of the government. Every aspect of every government is consumed with the rot of this. And this is it. Here we are. Yeah, we're pretty amazing, Raz. I agree. That's the fucked up nature of humanity, right? That's the duality of man. That's the whole let's get super deep and philosophize fucking thing, right? We're capable of such beauty, but such destruction, right? It's what Lilu cries about towards the end of The Fifth Element. You create such beauty, but all you do is destroy. That movie's answer is what? Why is it all worth it? Love. I don't think humans need to go extinct. I just think that functionally we will. And this is why. The most boring answer, cliche as fuck. Whatever, bro. I don't think we'll ever, I don't even entertain people in these fucking space colonization theoretical conversations anymore. They're asinine. The idea that humanity is going to overcome its own hurdles, let alone the hurdles between us and interstellar travel, before we wink out as a fucking species on this planet, has become a joke. I don't even indulge people in the fucking hypotheticals anymore. You want to talk sci-fi? We'll talk sci-fi one of these nights. But when we're talking reality and shit, let's not hypothesize about a future humanity that's colonized space. It ain't happening, folks. Dark Highdeology tonight. What kind of sociopath would deny vaccines to be withheld until you're dragged like Hector's corpse to do the right thing? The type of sociopath that runs the most sociopathic nation on the fucking planet. The most self-absorbed, self-involved, narcissistic shithole on the fucking planet. That can't help but export its fucking misery everywhere and then contextualize why it has to keep doing it this way. Fuck that. Fuck this. I may not be able to stop any of this, but I'll be goddamned if I don't go down kicking and screaming. You may not see value in that, but I'm not gonna fucking join the chorus of useful idiots cackling their way to their graves. I know what's coming, guys. The writing is on the motherfucking wall. You don't need a crystal ball. Listen to the scientists. They've been blaring the fucking alarm bell since I was a child. Not just we're going to have to change our way of life, not just we'll have to adapt. The world is coming to a fucking end. The ocean is going to stop producing oxygen. Do you understand what that fucking means? Everything else is petty. Anything aligned towards that is petty. And I refuse to be a voice for it anymore in my life. You can do what you want with yours. So we're just gonna lay down and die. What a childish view of what I'm discussing here tonight with you. What a childlike way to respond to it. Fear-based way to respond to it. No, we don't just lay down and die. We live in our fullness. We admit what's coming. And we do everything we can to fucking swim against the fucking tide until our hearts give out. That's what we do. You can roll over if you want. I've been accused of rolling over. I never once rolled over. Not on this. You've got the running record of that shit right here on this fucking channel. You can quote me. Go look at my shit. See the principles I've stood on since I was like fucking 26 years old. I'm 41. There's a running record of my thoughts on the world. Go listen. I know where I stand and I know where I belong. Do you? Honestly. If you answer no, I won't judge you for it. It's not a pass-fail question. It's an honest fucking question. You know where you stand? Don't dodge it. And be honest with me. You owe me at least that. I'm always honest with you. Do you know where you stand? Fair enough. You don't have as much time as you think, Colin. Sorry to tell you that. It's a capybara fact.
Capybara fact.
I need a capybara fact.
1 to 8 babies.
Yeah, babies are called pups.
Yeah.
The name
Kinda
comes.
wiry.
Yeah, they got wiry hair. They look kind of floofy, but they're kind of like wiry hair, like Marley.
Yeah.
Sorry, I got to pull myself out of the fucking doomer hole I'm in right now. So we're going to talk about cappies.
Yeah, they can run as fast as a horse. They need to.
That's pretty fucking crazy. That's true.
They fuck in the water.
They do.
The non-alpha males are cucked.
And they like it.
Yeah. They gotta have, I think, like 4 moms in the troop for them to have babies.
Yeah.
They do like raised by a village shit.
Yeah.
Forget how many toes they have.
3?
Yeah, I think it's just 3.
And they've got like the hoofs on the end, but the webs between.
Yeah.
So they can run on land, but also swim hella good. Cricket. It's okay. You don't want out here anyway. All right. Down in a hole. I walked the Doomer's descent on this stream, honey.
Yeah.
It just went like, started telling personal stories, and they just got, you know, like darker and darker and darker and darker, and then pretty soon we're talking about like human beings and their infinite capacity to hurt one another and how that's really at the fucking center of all of our problems. And then it got darker and darker and dark, and then all of a sudden I'm asking everybody in the fucking chat, like, what side are you on? And then you walked out, and I was like, okay. Capybaras, please.
End of spiral.
Yep. No more doom spiraling, okay? It's okay to do those every once in a while, but you have to pull up into a capybara. You have to remember that cappies exist. Because they do. The Zigo spiral. I'm going to leave you guys with that. Have a good night.